You're watching Morning Live, and it's kind of the first real week of 2014. Most people are getting back to work today, and it's an important day for matric results. The percentages are going to be announced later today by the Basic Education Minister, but the results come out tomorrow, and we wish you all the best of luck. But today also marks the 19th anniversary of the passing of Joe Slovo. He was an anti-apartheid activist who attended Wits University in the same class with the likes of Nelson Mandela, and later joined the African National Congress. He has, however, been best known for his leadership in the South African Communist Party, the SACP. Well, joining us now is Solly Mapaila, who's the second Deputy General Secretary of the SACP. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Welcome to you.
Thank you, and good morning.
So it's an important day for you. Joe Slovo, I guess, is an iconic figure for the SACP. How will you be remembering him today?
Well, of course, he was an iconic revolutionary, no doubt about that. Not only in the party, but internationally as well. Most of his work was translated in over 60 languages in different parts of the world. Today we are remembering him going to the gravesite just to lay the wreath, and thereafter we'll receive some speeches from alliance components and the youth formations, and we'll embark on a party program that we called the Know and Act in Your Neighborhood campaign in his memory. This program will do door-to-door work in Soweto. We'll visit families, interact with them to understand what's happening in their lives and what role we can play, and also what role they can play, and working together with them. We'll then use that opportunity to also mobilize them to participate in the coming elections and vote our movement, the African National Congress.
All right. He joined the SACP in 1942. I mean, this is World War II era we're talking. And he was very much a part of key moments in South Africa's history. For those who don't know much about Joe Slovo, who can we say he was?
Well, let's also start there where you say he joined during the ANC during the period of the World War II. He actually participated in the war against fascism. He volunteered to go and fight. But Slovo was an outstanding revolutionary who was committed to the liberation of all South Africans. He was a humanist and he loved laughter. It's known that every time where he was, there will be a lot of good memories. Many people remember him more for that. But he was very brave. He's the founder member of Umkhonto weSizwe, together with Comrade Nelson Mandela. He was a representative of the SACP in the joint formation of the army, because this was an army jointly formed by the two organizations. Of course, the ANC took more public responsibility for it. And he participated in a strategic acts of MK, and he commanded especially the MK Special Operations Unit that was led by one of his best operatives, Bani Mulukwane. They did Kubek, for instance, Sasol, those major operations, and they will go right inside where the enemy was. And he will actually lead by example in some of these activities. At some point, the leadership was worried they had to withdraw him from the front line back to Lusaka, because he loved the front line time. But he was also a massive intellectual. He criticized, for instance, the development of socialism in the Soviet Union. He wrote a brilliant piece, "Had Socialism Failed," that had everyone talking. Oh, this Slovo, because people had thought that, this Slovo is a pro-Soviet, Stalinist, so to speak, and therefore he can't criticize even the Soviet Communist Party. But when he spoke about, when he wrote this piece, that socialism failed, people started thinking, wow, what a tower of an intellectual he is. And that's still a seminal piece in the communist movement even today. But for us in South Africa, I think he will be best remembered for his writings. He used to edit our newsletter, magazine called The African Communist. But he wrote a piece there called the South African Revolution, the National Democratic Revolution and the South African Working Class, where he was showing the relationship between the struggle for freedom as well as the role of workers in that struggle. So this is an important document which I think we could encourage our workers as well as our members, those in the party and the ANC, as part of our Going to Basics campaign, to read it, because it was explaining basic things about why workers need, for instance, the ANC, why workers need the party, and why the party need the workers, and why the party need the ANC, why the ANC need the party, and so forth. So that kind of interrelationship.
And he gave a lot, didn't he? I mean, at great sacrifice. He even lost his wife during the struggle. Do you think that his full contribution will be recognized fully?
Well, you see, firstly, let's say his wife, Comrade Ruth First, was an outstanding revolutionary in her own right. And the fact that she had married one of the greatest South African revolutionaries was something else. And to lose her was a huge blow, not only to him, but to the liberation movement as a whole. And I think that that also explains where we come from. The apartheid regime have targeted him specifically because they've characterized him as the KGB man or the Red Pimpernel of some sort. So they were looking after him. When they couldn't find him, they felt that they could instill this huge blow on his wife. And of course, I think indeed it was a huge blow for him and for our movement as well.
Post, they came back from exile. Then there was that period of negotiating, and he played a role there, didn't he?
Of course, as you know, we also credit the negotiated settlement, the breakthrough of the negotiated settlement to him. He produced a document called the Sunset and Sunrise Clause, in which the proposal, of course, it was later on accepted by the movement. It stopped being his piece, but he was the main drafter, in which he proposed the avoidance of bloodshed, and therefore talked about government of national unity, and which was also important because we had a liberation movement that had no sense of running government, and it was to come into government, obviously. So there has to be some form of preparations. And you could foresee that, and that's why he proposed that important piece. And
we've run out of time, unfortunately, but one last very quick question. How do you think Slovo thinking would manage the challenges that South Africa is facing at this time?
I think you will love us to discuss more, to be open with one another, to confront one another robustly, to have constructive criticism of one another instead of destructive criticism, but also to lead by example. And I think that's what you would really prefer us to do. And I think we're trying to do that.
All right. Well, we certainly wish you the best in remembering this icon. And thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and memories of him today. Thank you for your time. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.